All right, let's dive right in. Today we're going to break down a scientific protocol that promises to do something a lot of people think is, well, impossible, actually rebuilding serious muscle and strength after you hit 60. We're going to look at the exact exercises and a really key nutrition rule that science says can flip your body's growth switch back on, no matter what your age is. So why is this so critical? It all comes down to this one number right here. By the time you reach age 70, you can lose up to 40% of your muscle mass. Now, this isn't about how you look in the mirror. This is about the fundamental strength you need to live on your own terms. This slow, silent muscle loss is really the hidden reason behind so many challenges we just chalk up to getting older. You know, this condition actually has a name. It's called sarcopenia. And here is the most important thing I want you to take away from this. This is not just a normal part of aging. It is a specific condition where your body starts to cannibalize its own muscle for energy. But, and this is the hopeful part, it's something we can actively fight back against. Okay, so a lot of us are probably thinking, hey, I walk every single day. That's got to be enough, right? And listen, walking is absolutely fantastic for your heart and your head. But when it comes to building muscle, the protocol we're exploring today shows why it just doesn't cut it. To really get why, we need to understand a very specific change happening inside our bodies as we age. And that change is called anabolic resistance. Think of it this way. Your muscles, they get a little, well, hard of hearing. They just can't quite pick up on the quiet signals telling them to grow and get stronger. The gentle nudge you get from something like walking is just not a loud enough shout to get the message to anymore. And this slide lays it out perfectly. Walking, it's like a soft, gentle little tug on a rope. Sure, it sends a signal, but it's not a very strong one. Resistance exercise, on the other hand, now that is the powerful, decisive yank that actually gets the engine to roar to life. In fact, let's stick with that engine idea for a second. I want you to imagine your muscles after age 60 are like a stubborn old lawnmower. You know the kind. You can pull that starter cord gently 100 times and nothing happens. What does it need? It needs that one powerful, fast pull to overcome all that resistance and finally kick into gear. That's the kind of signal we have to send. So the big question is, how do we create that powerful pull? Well, that brings us to the first part of the solution, a super simple 4-step workout you can do right in your own home. This isn't about spending hours in a gym. It's about using very specific movements that send that loud, unmistakable signal our muscles are waiting to hear. So here they are, the 4 foundational moves. First up, the chair squat. People call this the most important movement for longevity, and for good reason. It can trigger a huge release of growth hormone. Next, we've got the wall push-up, which actually works to reverse that forward hunching we can get over time. Then there's the resistance row, which is just fantastic for keeping your spine mobile. And finally, the core brace, or a plank, which strengthens your entire core foundation. Okay, so sending the signal with exercise, that's step 1. But you can't build a house if you don't have any bricks, right? The second part of this solution is all about giving your body the exact raw materials it needs to hear that signal and then actually build new muscle tissue. And this brings us to something so many of us believe. You know, you start your day with a couple eggs, you feel pretty good about it, you think you're getting a great high-protein meal. But the real question is it actually enough protein to trigger muscle growth, especially when you're over 60? And the research on this is pretty clear. Nope. It's not. This is what some call the egg myth. And look, eggs are great for you, but 2 of them just don't give you a strong enough spike of amino acids to overcome that anabolic resistance we talked about. It's that gentle tug on the lawnmower cord again, not the powerful pull we need. So what is the magic number? Well, the science points right here. 3 grams. Specifically, 3 grams of a really powerful amino acid called leucine, all in a single meal. You can think of leucine as the literal on switch for muscle protein synthesis. When you hit that 3-gram threshold, it's like a light goes on, telling your body, okay, it's time to build. And this is where things get really interesting. Just take a look at this chart. To hit that 3-gram leucine target, you'd need to eat, get this, 5 whole eggs in one sitting. That's a lot of eggs. But now look at the other options. Just 1 cup of Greek yogurt gets you there. Same for a single serving of Seitan or even Moringa. It's about working smarter, not just eating more food. Now, to really make this work, the protocol lays out 3 little synergy rules. First is the morning spike. Have that high leucine meal within 2 hours of your workout. That's your golden window of opportunity. Second, the activation key. Pair that protein with a healthy fat, like avocado, which helps your body actually absorb all the good stuff. And third, what's called the anti-rust factor, adding spices like turmeric and ginger to help lower the inflammation that can get in the way of muscle growth. So here's the billion-dollar question, right? Does this combination of targeted workouts and precise nutrition actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the proof. Let me tell you about a woman named Helen. At 70Q, she had this terrifying moment where her knee just gave out on the stairs. She called it silent weakness. So she started small, just 5 minutes of wall push-ups, and she swapped her morning toast for Greek yogurt to hit that leucine number. And the result? In just 6 weeks, she was opening those stubborn, tight jars again and walking confidently on her own. And Helen's story, it's not just a one-off anecdote. It's actually backed up by hard science. When researchers put these exact strategies to the test, the resistance exercise plus the targeted nutrition, they saw an incredible result. A 31% increase in strength in only 12 weeks. I mean, stop and think about that. That is a life-changing improvement in a very short amount of time. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's that feeling weaker is not something you just have to accept as you get older. Our bodies have this amazing built-in ability to repair and rebuild themselves. We just have to learn how to give them the right signals and the right fuel. The message here is so simple and it's so powerful. Your strongest days aren't necessarily in your past. They might just be waiting for you to create them.